back with, we on week 11?
11, episode 11.
Longest thing we've ever committed to in our entire lives, week 11.
Yep. This will be longer than both of our marriages.
That's true. I forget what I said the topic was last time, but it was something along the lines of card games.
Collectible card games.
Collectible card games from our childhood. And I'm excited for you to talk because you have quite a treat in front of you. You have a couple things.
I got a bevy. I got a bevy of stuff, Dan.
I didn't really keep a lot of that stuff. So.
Well, I think the difference here is that, like, you're in your own apartment. I still live at home, and I still have like, some shit
weeded
from
out
when I
a
was
lot
a
of the
kid.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to be talking about collectible card games from our childhood in general. I don't know if you've played many since you were kind of a kid, but I
played a couple.
On and off I have.
So let's start this week,
with
like
the
every time,
breakdown
with the bi-weekly breakdown there, Dan. Yeah.
Let's see. So I will start. Today we safely met because where we are, it is currently orange and everything's kind of trending nicely. Orange lockdown. You're listening to this in 3 years when COVID's a thing of the past.
When we're all dead.
When we're all dead, one or the other. We safely met and we played Scenario 4 of Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion and The Search for Planet X, so two big, chunky, thought-provoking board games.
I play a red guard named Frederick Guard in that game.
And I play the horribly complicating Void Mage that's all about moving and supporting and doing 1,000 things on her turn and taking 10 minutes to plan everything perfectly. My
lad just, like, come over here's guys, like, from whatever that fucking fighting game is. He pulls guys to him and he does AoE damage and a bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's Mortal. You talking about Scorpion?
Yes. I don't know. Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. We did that and we kind of hung out, but in the last 2 weeks, what have I been doing? I had my school event, so it was getting ready for that and doing a lot of prep work for that. I finished my RG Gundam kit that took me 5 or 6 hours. I think that was in the last 2 weeks. Not very much. It's kind of spring, so I've started going on runs again outside, which feels very good after not wanting to go to gyms with everything going on. Yeah, what about you?
What about me? What about me, Dan? I played Control for the first time, which was very fun. I played Resistance Fall of Man.
Oh, wow. Is that the first Resistance?
Yeah, which is a PS3 like launch title or something.
I love the Resistance series. I played all those games.
Yeah, I didn't play it too much. It was pretty fun for when I played, but it was really cool because you could remap every single control, and it was like a 2007 console game.
Yeah, I really liked those games. What did they make? They made 3, right? Resistance 1, 2, and 3? Or did they make like Vita game or something?
They made a PSP game, which is good, and a Vita game that is very bad, apparently.
That's what I was going to say. I knew they did handhelds. I just didn't know what the hell it was. Huh.
I also started the Outer Worlds DLC, which is pretty good so far. I haven't gotten too far into that. I watched this movie. My friend made me buy a ticket to like this online Canadian movie festival, and I watched this movie called We Fix Radios or something.
Yes,
and it was made by this 18-year-old kid, and it's about like LGBTQ people in rural Ontario, and like it's not a very well-made film because it was made by a bunch of teenagers. It has a lot of like good cinematography. They have a lot of good drone shots, and they have good enough acting. I think just there's lots of problems with scripting and stuff like that, but like. There's a difference between watching like a multi-million-dollar bad movie and hating it because it's just shit and incompetent, and watching like basically a student project that's put together. That's
at least it's made with heart. Yeah, at least it's made by people who give a shit. It's not do the next movie to get the next paycheck because people will like it.
You can tell that it was made by a bunch of people who just wanted to make a movie. Like this kid was making a film. He's like, let's get all my friends in, and they made a movie. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it was good. Other than that, I'm watching more stuff on Shudder. I watched What We Will Do to Survive. I think that's what it's called. It's a movie about this lesbian couple goes to like stay at one of the people's family cabin, and then bad stuff happens. It's a really good movie. I watched Hell House, which is this like found footage film that was okay. The ending was kind of bad. And then I watched Ringu for the first time. I told you about that, where I thought it was just okay. It wasn't scary. And it felt long, but it was cool seeing Japan in the 90s and see like spooky old CRTs and shit.
Yeah, that's what the Ring's based off of, right? The original one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ring.
And me and you also played a lot of Deep Rock.
Yes, we have been playing. I've been playing quite a lot of Deep Rock just while my classes are going on too. Just kind of playing solo and leveling up my guys. I've almost got everyone prestige. So
I think I've got almost 100 hours now or something.
Yeah, I've got 75 or 80, which is a lot for me, especially right now, especially with what's going on. So
I'm trying to think of what else I've been doing. This is a lot of work and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and working
just
on
kind of
side projects
hanging
and stuff.
out. But yeah,
I think that's it for the biweekly breakdown. So okay, how do you want to break this up? I want to do this where like it's your week, but I think we should go like, what was your first card game, and talk about that.
Yeah, so what's the earliest memory you have of either collecting card games? Because I always forget you have brothers. I always forget that. Did your brothers, like, did you get introduced by them, or did you figure it out yourself?
No, I think it was more like the first collectible card game was Pokemon, and I got my Pokemon book here. I got all my... I gave a lot of my Pokemon cards away. I had a lot. I had a fucking shitload, but I gave most of them to my niece and nephew, and now I kept just, like, the ones that were my favorites, so I think I have, like, 3 dozen or something.
Yeah.
But, like, my brothers used to take me to like the variety store and they give me like 50 cents and I'd buy a pack of cards, or my dad would go to like flea market and they'd have like packs of cards there too and we'd buy them up and shit.
Flea market cards. I love that. You always had that dream of finding like the horrible old lady who doesn't know what she has and sells amazing cards to you at a dime.
Guess how I got my shiny Charizard?
Is that how?
Yep, I bought a fucking fossil pack, which is the first packs or whatever. I don't know if it was that or another one. Yeah. That's how I got my shiny Charizard. I still have that.
You still have from what set? Do you know?
Base set. It's the one that's worth the most amount of money.
How much is that?
I think it's like a couple $100 or something, depending on how good the card is.
Isn't it like, is your card like horribly damaged or something?
No, it's fine. I might have traded someone for it because I usually kept my cards in good nick, but I think I can pull it out like right now.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the price...
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, like, if there's no nicks and stuff, they can be a lot of money. So, I would actually consider getting that graded if you ever wanted to, because they can be a lot of money.
I don't really care. It's kind of like, I also own... I don't know why it is, but I think the most expensive things I own besides, like, you know, jewelry and shit like that is, like, Pokemon stuff. Yeah. Because I bought... This is a tangent, but I bought Pokemon Heart Gold, which is a DS game. I bought it on launch with like, I saved up my allowance or something and bought it for like $30 or $40, whatever it was. And now I have the complete box set and it's like $350 now. It's god awful how much it is.
I really think it's neat seeing all the people that are doing the whole Pokemon collecting, and it's cool seeing all the money for it, but my god, it's just, I think it's just ruining hobbies like that. Like,
well, the thing too is that I think it's harmful. I don't know if this is harmful or not, but like, let me tell you, like, before I bought, because I didn't play the third generation of games, which was the Game Boy Advance games, before I bought the one that I have a few years ago, you just go online and be like, Pokemon Emerald, ROM and hack, and just, I remember downloading and playing Pokemon Emerald in 3 minutes. I had it up and running on my laptop.
Yeah.
Like people should just do that if they want to play old Pokemon games instead of paying $40+ for a cartridge.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it, but it's the same reason. Pokemon doesn't have nearly as much of a competitive scene as, like, Magic the Gathering does.
No.
To my
knowledge. Do they have a competitive, like, TCG?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain they do. I don't think it's big in North America, but I believe it's bigger in Europe and Japan and Asia and stuff like that. But even saying big, I don't think it's, like, really that big.
Pokemon was a TCG that I collected for the longest amount of time when I was a kid, and I never, ever, ever played it once.
Yeah,
and I never actually played the game.
I think you're on the odd end of the spectrum if you say that you did play the game. There's fucking no one that I remember trading Pokemon cards with that knew how to play the goddamn game.
No.
I don't even really know how to play now.
When I was 11, I had like a Pokemon club with some friends from school, whatever, and we go to the library after school and like talk about Pokemon and trade cards. We do that for a couple months.
Talk about them.
Yeah, and like, or we'd do other stuff too. Like we'd go to like and do stuff. But I remember trading cards and talking about it, and none of us ever played once.
Yeah, no,
we never played that fucking game once.
And that's okay. So Pokemon was your earliest, correct?
Yeah.
I think.
What was yours?
I think obviously Pokemon was my earliest, but I don't have too many memories actually of buying Pokemon cards. Like, I remember people having them at school, and I remember maybe trading them at school. I definitely watched the anime and stuff like that, like on YTV or wherever that aired. But my earliest memory is actually Magic the Gathering. That was the first one I remember buying cards myself and, like, striving to figure out, actually sitting down and playing it. And that was, I was looking at the sets and everything what I remember, it was about 2010, 2009 was the first time I looked at Magic. So I would have been...
So you were like 10?
Yeah, I would have been 10, because my brother played a lot back then too, so that's how I got into it.
Well, your brother's older than me, right? So he was like 15, 16?
Yeah, he was 15, 16 when it started, so I got a lot of the cards that I remember from him, and then I still have a lot of them, and a lot of them shot up in value, so I keep them all in a nice old binder.
You were playing like not too long ago too.
Yeah,
you got
100%.
back into it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I remember like going to the local comic book store with you and you spending 20 minutes looking for bug tokens.
Bug tokens. That was the hardest thing to ever find to complete decks, would be the goddamn tokens, because stores wouldn't even stock them sometimes because they were like 10 cents or virtually worthless, but I wanted all the bug tokens because they look nice on the board.
They just like, how does Magic work? Like, how do you play Magic?
Fuck, do I remember? Each turn you can play one mana card, which is like an island or a forest or a plane or anything. You build a deck based around that, and then you have to attack people directly. You have 20 life, and when you attack, they can choose to block with their creatures or not block. It's kind of like a swinging scale. It's very deep and very good, but we'll get into why I stopped playing and why I have kind of a scathing hatred for Magic now. Because I don't think I will ever go back to it. I think, I know it's been said 1,000 times that Magic is dead, but Magic is not the game that I remember it being, and I don't really want to support that company anymore.
Is that how you want to do this now? Like games we played, like stuff we enjoyed, and then
games
like,
we absolutely hate.
because of X, Y, and Z? Okay. I think the other one that
I want to hear Chaotix. I want to hear you talk about that.
Well, I want to talk about the other one that people usually would have more memory about,
Yu-Gi-Oh?
which is Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah.
I have no memories about Yu-Gi-Oh! Straight up, no goddamn memories.
I actually have like 6 Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards tucked inside my frickin' chaotic binder here. I have 2 baby dragons, a Karibo, and a Red Eyes Black Chick.
Red Eyes Black Chick.
Which sounds racist, but it's like a little dragon and an egg.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. No,
I think I only kept these because they were like cute.
I'll be straight. Karibo was the little thing that was like a furry circle, right? It was like
with 2 eyeballs and some frickin' hands.
Yeah, no, straight up, I never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I never bought Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I never played them. My brother didn't play them, and there was... Did anyone at your school play it?
I was gonna say, this is the one where I do remember like being at school and people like slamming like on the sandbox, like on the side, like there was this kid, I'm not gonna name him, but there was this kid when I was younger who like his dad bought him a bunch of stuff to like I assume just make up for being like a shitty dad.
Did he have all the cool Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards? Did he have the tins?
He did. So I distinctly remember being there and him slamming a card down and being like, "Blue Eyes White Dragon, bitch." I remember that.
Yeah, I think it's related to schooling because no one at my public school played fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! But a lot of people played Magic. Like, a ton of people played Magic.
There was the same thing, too, with, like, kid trend stuff. Like, I remember people really getting into RuneScape and talking about RuneScape. I think we talked about this before, like, computer games and stuff.
Yeah.
But I also, when I was, like, in grade 4, so that was, like, 2003, 2004, 2005, people, like, fucking just didn't stop with Tamagotchis. Yeah, like, geez, I remember I had a Tamagotchi too, and I brought it to school all the time and shit, and they got banned. And Beyblades. People played fucking Beyblades too. It was all that, like, stuff that's, like, really fun, and then you can trade, then they get stolen, or kids, like, bring them out in the middle of class and play with them, and then they get fucking banned.
Yeah, all that stuff is very dependent on your schooling. Like, no one played Yu-Gi-Oh! At my school, so I had no drive. As a kid, obviously, like, if you were in college or high school, you would just do whatever you want, and you'd find people. But if no one played Yu-Gi-Oh!, then no other kid would play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because he's not buying cards for no one to look at.
What other, like, stuff do you remember kids being really into when you were in elementary school?
So I remember card games or just things in general.
Like toys and shit.
And shit. Tamagotchi was pretty big at my elementary school. Honestly, fuck. It was, I forget what it was called, Cube World or something. You had
Cube World.
I think that's what it was called. No,
that's like a video game.
No. Okay, they were big LCD colored cubes, and you could stick them together, and they were magnetized. And there was a little. It was kind of like Tamagotchi. There was a little person inside of it. And
I have no clue what the fuck that is.
I'll find it. Cube Man.
That sounds awesome. I wish I was younger.
I swear to God. I don't know what it was called. Cube World is what it was called. It was.
I'm sure that's that video game.
It is a video game, but it's also a toy. Yeah, they were like colored little blocks. They were about as big as the palm of your hand, and they had little dudes inside of them, and all
little men.
Yeah, little stick men, and all the colored blocks would be like different attributes. So like the dude in the red box had a ball he could play with, and the dude in the green box had like a basketball net, some shit like that.
Would they like interact? Like,
yeah, so if you stuck them all together, you could make a cube world, and they would move between each other's squares and jump up and down and shit like that. I remember that.
That's starting to like tickle like the very faintest, darkest part of my brain, but I still don't know what that is.
I remember that. Tamagotchis were big. I don't know if it was because it was so long ago, but I don't remember a lot. Webkins were very, very big at my elementary school.
I'm too old for that. Like, that never
really
hit.
No, Webkins.
I was like right
huge.
up that cusp of like that internet trend where it's like, connect your toy to the internet, and then you can play with them there.
I was just gonna say, I remember all that shit, and I'm like scrounging the darkest corner of my mind to remember the one. It was like a keychain with like a QR code or a special action on it, and there were 3 different classes, and it was like an MMORPG light thing for kids. And you could, I begged my parents for it, and then I swear to God I got it, but I have no memory of playing it, probably because my computer didn't run it properly.
All we had was MS-DOS. I just had a C64 until I was 17.
Yeah, other than that, not a lot. Like, Club Penguin was that was probably big at your
yeah, that was too.
Club Penguin was huge. RuneScape was big, but I never got into it because even back then I knew it was just a glorified number simulator.
Yeah, I just like remember the things on RuneScape. They were like, I talked to this guy and he probably was fishing for my home address so he can come and cut my little kid head off and fuck the holes.
Delectable. No, yeah. What about your elementary school? Do you remember a ton of shit like that?
I think that's the ones I've talked about, and Beyblade was really, really big. I remember.
Yeah, not big here, not big at mine.
Beyblade was so fucking stupid because
I remember me thinking it had no anything to it. I just remember thinking it was nothing.
Unless you had like one of those like rain dishes where you zipped the Beyblades into, where they like hit each other, it was useless. Because I remember like being on the fucking playground, and I had Beyblades too, and you would just like rip your fucking Beyblade and just see, because we didn't have the arenas, to see which one lasted the longest.
That's half the
That's
fun.
like the most boring fucking thing I'd ever remembered. I think the most fun I had with Beyblade was like, I would like, because they had like weights and shit in them, I'd like switch the parts out between different Beyblades and make like new ones and stuff. That's what I found fun with them.
I found fun. Did you ever hear about the story of the woman who 4chan ruined because she posted her kids' Beyblades on eBay? Did you ever hear about that story?
No. Is it one of those stories where like, my mom posted my Beyblades? Do you see the thing and then they just like rip her a new asshole and destroy her life?
Yeah, basically. She posted the kids crying on eBay holding a bag of Beyblades because the kids used the Beyblades in the tub, and it fucking ruined the enamel because they were all silver and metal Beyblades.
Yeah.
So it stripped the tub dry of all the outer coating. And this mom posted this picture of the kids bawling their eyes out on eBay. And people from 4chan found it and started bidding like asinine amounts of money for the Beyblades, like hundreds of thousands of dollars and shit. And you can find all this shit, the mother responding and being like, is this a joke to you? And people being like, no, I work for a construction yard. I just wanted to see how effective this would be at tearing down buildings. I've never considered that. Just shit like that. As always happens on 4chan, it was very, very funny until someone thought it would be funny to dox their address to teach her a lesson, but
always
not realizing that that's worse for the kids because there's 2 children that live at that address.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of ruined it.
well, like, going along with what that mom was trying to do, did you ever, like, know any of those kids who, like...
ruined shit like that?
No, but, like, they played with something so much that their parents, like, sold it or destroyed it or something?
No. Did you?
My friend Steven, who I just finished talking with, his mom, like, smashed his copy of Super Mario 64
that's
with
horrible.
a hammer in front of him.
That's lunacy. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Like that's not even funny
not
to
a good
talk
parenting technique. Yeah,
no, that's a sociopath.
Sorry, Steven's mom, but that wasn't the right call to do that there.
I can't imagine. Oh, why? Like why? What? Why was he playing it too much?
Like just. put it away or hide it or something.
Why smash it with a fucking hammer?
Yeah, that's so fucked.
Digital games, can't smash those with a hammer.
Going along with like that QR code stuff, I think like that was just like the cusp of when I was going into, like, I was in late elementary school to going into high school when Chaotix released, or Chaotic. Do you want to talk about that right now?
Let's talk about that. So my history.
I got all my Chaotic cards right here in front of me, Dan.
So I remember the Chaotix TV show a lot. There was like some green fucker in a red onesie, and he had tattoos and long hair or something.
Yeah, I have a battle
What's
board,
his name?
Overworld battle board up, and I see his face.
Yeah, do you know his name? Because I was trying to figure it out.
It's like
Chaotic?
Neelix or something. It's like something like that. It ends with like Ix. It's like Toriix or something.
I remember the Chaotix TV show quite a lot. I feel like I bought.
It was a very cool. Like
it was cool. I remember.
It was a cool premise. It was
there
like
was
these kids
heaven
had
and hell essentially, or different races.
These kids had, so it was like regular ass kids, and they had these PDAs where they uploaded their Chaotic cards, and then they like got a virus or something that took them to like the Chaotic realm, and they could transport to where these monsters actually were and like talk to them and shit, and scan them and like turn them into cards. Because the whole thing with Chaotic was that like, one, you could upload your cards to the internet and play online, which I never did, and two, all the cards are different. So I have like multiples of different cards. Like, let me just pull one up here. So I have two Cavax, who's like a rare card, and he has like different stats between both cards. I think there's an average that all the cards have, but they have different stats and like different health than you can have on these guys.
And you played, it was just 1-on-1, right? Like, you had your deck names, correct?
So,
you were telling me them?
This is two things I've discovered. One, I was really into Chaotic, I guess, because I remember playing with my friends, and I have all like, so I put all my cards in a binder and separated them by like rarity and stuff, but I wrote down what my decks were, so I have like all the monster cards, the item cards, magic, and attacks, and also I had much better handwriting when I was 13. My handwriting was fucking pristine in this. Yeah. It's degraded with time, like brain is turned into mush. Okay, but I have the battle mat here, so it says how to play. It says arrange your creatures in battle gear, shuffle your location deck and attack deck. So it was like you could do 3-on-3, 6-on-6, or do a total like
between people.
Yeah, 10-on-10. So you'd have like different amounts of monster cards, the same amount as your opponent.
10-on-10 people, 10 versus 10 people.
Yeah.
How many people in the world?
Players,
do you think of...
not players, but like cards.
What the fuck?
It was basically like a monster fighting game.
That's very.
So you had so a 3-on-3 match is like you have like 3 monsters. They each have an item equipped.
Yeah.
And they have different abilities. And then on active player's turn, activate player reveals the top card of their location deck, which picks the location where you're at. I remember that from the show.
Yeah.
And then active player moves at least one creature they control. If your creature and your opponent's creature occupy the same space, they fight, and they fight till they die.
So
and then
there was a board, like a grid, not just like
I have it right here. It has like a grid of just cards. There's a row of 4, and then 3 and 2 and 1. So you'd put 2 like mats together to verse each other. Yeah. There's also like an energy tracker and a stat tracker on the side too, but when you fight between the cards. And there's like, you would have creatures on the board. They each have items. They each have like, some of them can cast spells, some of them can't. So you have like a spell deck, you have a randomized attack deck, and a randomized location deck. And it's like different tiers of creatures, different like tribes basically, and different modifiers you can do for abilities. It's actually pretty complicated. It's more complicated than I remember anyway.
Would you say Chaotix is like the old Hearthstone? Do you think Hearthstone has taken anything from Chaotix?
Well, I feel like that's not a very innovative way to, because I think that's basically how Pokemon works. I think Pokemon was like, you had a team of 6 and then you like sent them out into battle and they fought each other to the death basically, and there's just like variations of that, right? Yeah. But I remember playing this game and fucking really liking it and playing it with my friends, because I had 2 friends who played it with me and it was really fun. We played it at the library.
So you actually played Chaotix. You were one of the 4 people in the entire universe who actually sat down
and we sat down.
Chaotix.
We
Chaotic,
took
or is it chaotic?
Chaotic.
Chaotic.
No S.
Oh, I thought it was that. Maybe that's another Mandela effect thing. I swear, I thought it was CHAOTIX.
And the stupid show they'd say let's get chaotic, not let's get chaotix.
Oh.
And it says chaotic on everything on all these cards, yeah.
Oh. Huh, I always thought it was chaotix.
I remember it taking a fuckload of time to set up and a fuckload of time to finish there.
I'm looking at concept art of everything. What was what was the artistic direction?
Well, it was like they were the
Maxor, that's his name.
The chaotic land was like there was like basically
was it a different universe?
It was the different universe. It was like Earth and Hell, and on Earth you had two different tribes basically. There was the overworld, which is like just like weird fantasy creatures and shit like that, and there was the Mapedians, which were lizard men, and then in the underworld
that's their word.
And then in the underworld you had demons basically, who were the underworlders, and then you had Danians, which were like
those were the ants.
Yeah, I think the Danians and the Mapedians more about like buffing each other, and the other decks are more about buffing themselves.
I just remember, I think I liked the Underworld. I remember that, and I remember the PS3 game. I forget what it was called. Shadow.
It's a chaotic something? PS3 game.
Yeah, it was. It's. I think it's. Let me look. It's Chaotic Shadow Warrior. Yeah, it was a PS3 game, and it was. I forget if it was like a beat 'em up game or if it was just an over the shoulder.
Ooh, a 5 out of 10. That looks good.
But, yeah, it's back in a time when video games were made off of weird shit like that. Like, why do you think anyone spent time making a chaotic game? Do you think they really thought it was going to be popular?
Oh my god, I see it's like a deck building, like, it's a deck building game with, like, a limited amount of cards. It's weird.
Kind of odd. So, yeah, chaotic. I remember watching the show. I'm looking at the cards now, and they're not even making me remember anything. I
was looking at them now, and I remember some of them. Yeah, I remember some of them in like the show and shit. But I think like the show didn't run for very long. I think I told you about this the other day. But the show was like Flash for the first 2 seasons. I remember watching those episodes a lot, and then they switched to actual animation, which looked better, but my stupid brain was like, that's different, I'm not gonna watch that anymore, and I just stopped watching.
That's not the right show, and I just stopped. You don't think studios can't like predict that kids are that stupid that
yeah, like they must have made a lot of money from selling cards and doing the show and shit, and they were like, oh, let's step up our animation. And then they changed the animation and no one watched it anymore.
Dumbass little kids are like, this not same show, and just stop watching. Oh, that fucking kills me.
That's really
Didn't they try and reboot it multiple times?
Like, I have no idea.
Aren't they still trying to reboot it now?
No idea.
I'm pretty goddamn certain they were like talking about rebooting Chaotic now, or see, there's a subreddit for Chaotic. Do you think it's still popping?
Tell me the numbers, because we're going too long on this. We're gonna switch topics, but tell me the numbers on the subreddit.
There's 2,500 people online, and all the threads are just, there's at least a couple threads a day, which is very fucking weird.
That's strange.
Very strange.
The other week, me and Dan found this subreddit for Loadout, the game, and we were reading. No one's gonna remember that fucking game, but it was basically like a class-based shooter game, I think.
You could customize your guns. I played it a shit ton. It was very cool for the time. You could customize every piece of your gun and stuff. Yeah, long story short.
I remember their videos about it a long time ago, but we went on the subreddit, and it was just one guy. Like, there'd be, like, the random fucking thread post every few months, and the one guy would comment, like, it's coming back, it's coming back, it's coming back, and he would post, like, this one thing that was, like, you could still play on the PS4 on one server or some shit.
Yeah, if you ever want to look at what feels like a lost civilization, it makes you feel very weird inside, just look at r/loadout, and there's, like, 2 people that comment, and one dude will just say, I play on PS4, Xbox gay, and it'll just say shit like, is there any chance of this coming back? I think they've been talking about it.
That's every thread.
And every single comment is, dude, the game's been dead for 10 years. Every person that moved on from it is now working in actual game development. It's not coming back. And then he'll just respond and say, shut up. Like, it has to be someone that's very, very...
Mentally unwell.
Yeah, not great. Very interesting to look at, though.
Going on from that, have you played any, like, online card games?
Hearthstone, I got into I think I've got into Hearthstone, tried to get into it like maybe 2 or 3 times. It's not for me. I don't like the RNG in it, and that's that entire game. If you don't like RNG, you're not going to like Hearthstone.
I played Hearthstone like a
Didn't you play quite a lot?
Yeah, I did. I played a couple months after it came out. After it came out on the phone. Because I played it like, it would be one of those things where I was at school and you had an internet connection throughout the whole campus, right? So I was like, I'll just play a fucking round of Hearthstone, so I'd play that. I've never played WoW. I don't play Blizzard games, so I was just like playing this game where I had no idea what any of the fucking characters were.
I didn't play any Blizzard games either, so I have no clue.
I had fun. Like it's basically like a class based, like different classes have different decks, but you can do cards between decks or whatever. And it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a face hunt game where you could put minions on the board where that block you, or like attack people directly, and people had life points basically.
Yeah.
But I remember playing for a while, and then after a while they were like, okay, here's the expansions, and it was like I saved up gold by doing dailies. It had dailies in it, and then I bought like a bunch of packs. I didn't get the cards I wanted, and then I was like, well, this is kind of shit, and I played for another month or something, and they were like, actually, we're gonna make some cards not work, so you can't use all the cards you have all the time. We're gonna make some of them unavailable and then change it. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Yep.
And that's the one thing.
Magic.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think you're gonna talk about when you said that you weren't into it anymore. But it's just like, I hate that shit.
If your game is not,
if your game's not balanced enough to be like, okay, we can add this card but it'll break something or whatever. Like, don't add it or change some stuff around. Just don't make all the shit that I bought useless.
Yeah, it feels very worthwhile to do that and then be told, you just can't use this, by the way. Also, it's not good compared to the other cards. That's what I saw with Magic quite a lot. Hearthstone, never really played it. Other virtual card games, what other ones are there? I played Magic Duels a lot. That was the one on consoles, I believe.
You played a lot of fucking console card games that I never played. I think I played the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fucking TCG on the Game Boy Advance, and that was it.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering, Duels of the Planeswalkers. I played that quite a lot. I got into Magic the Gathering Arena, the brand new one. Not brand new, but newest. Still updated and everything. It's like their official game now.
Is it like you can just play with the regular cards and shit?
The new one, Arena?
Yeah.
It is, you can get codes from packs from buying cards in real life, and
so that's exactly like Chaotic then. Okay.
Yeah, shit like that. Never played Gwent. I didn't really like Gwent in The Witcher 3, so I never really...
I've heard Gwent is very simple.
You kind of draw cards for your opening hand, and then I believe over the course of 3 rounds, you just have those cards to play, so it's about bluffing and pushing and waiting for your opponents to do things. I just didn't really like the flow of it, but I can see why people do.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about Magic before? I wanted to change the topic a little bit.
I wanted to talk about why I dislike Magic. I bet I can get it done in 5 minutes.
Do it.
So I dislike Magic now because it does not feel... It's owned by Hasbro now, which is probably one of the main issues. Magic does not feel like a game where they give a shit about anything anymore, as long as they can make independent profit and constantly have hype about the next set. That is what annoys me the most.
Is that Wizards of the Coast that's owned by Hasbro?
Yeah, so Wizards of the Coast is owned by Hasbro now, which I believe they used to be owned by... Fuck me, I don't know. Not Hasbro, basically. Not a huge toy conglomerate that just wants to pump out money.
That's probably why... Because Wizards owns the official license for D&D,
For
right?
D&D, yeah, and D&D cards are in Magic now, and there's lots of weird shit.
That's probably why they've been, I've noticed it's not just that D&D got popular over the last few years because of streaming or whatever, because it did.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of product pushing and stuff. And,
there's a lot.
I like D&D a lot, 5e, but
it's not the best for a lot of things.
I like it that it's more that more people are playing and know about it. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, not bad at all. It's just people look at D&D I'm not gatekeeping it or anything. I love when people want to play D&D and stuff. I don't play it a ton, but it's just that a lot of people just want to how do you run a Western adventure long form campaign in 5e, and people are like, this really isn't the rule set to run something like that. There's literal RPGs that are like that. Run it in this. And it's just that D&D is viewed as the only tabletop RPG to a lot of
which
people.
isn't true, right? There's a lot of different.
Christ, yeah, Mothership, literally Mothership.
I haven't. Me and you have been playing. Well, me and you played Mothership before, but I've been playing a lot of Mothership, and it's basically
really good.
Mothership is more focused on being a lot more simple, so there's less stuff to keep track of, and you can die really, really, really easily.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what's that? The one that's based on like H.P. Lovecraft shit.
Oh, Call of Cthulhu?
Yeah, it reminds me of that, but Call of Cthulhu is also a lot like complicated as well.
Yeah.
But Mothership just strips all that shit down.
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
my
nice.
favorite about Mothership. It's all, I believe, a D10 system. It's extremely rules light. Everything is decided in 1 if 2 dice rolls. It's very easy to just add and change things on the fly, and it's sci-fi. Very, very nice.
I just like that, like, the character sheet's one piece of paper, and with like a flow chart of filling it out. That's really, really simple. And you can get like combat encounters or like adventures and stuff online, and they're just like a flow chart with
they're just
like
dirt sheets
descriptions
too.
And shit. Yeah, it's really, really cool and really nice.
Yeah, but
and I would say that like most people who get into like RPG playing, like role playing games, usually start with D&D, but D&D is also complicated for people who don't play video games and are just like normal as hell. I would actually probably recommend someone to do something more like Mothership for their first time.
Yeah, 5e has a lot of specific issues too that aren't really used or aren't beneficial to anyone in the party, or spells that are just bad. Just lots of little things like that, and I don't really know when they would update to 6th, I guess 6th edition, 6th.
They're not going to do it for a few years, I don't think. But it's not like balanced right.
No, there's
like,
a lot of
5e always
stuff
feels wonky.
Yeah, it always feels a little bit odd. You need to kind of house rule quite a lot of stuff to make it feel proper. But yeah, talking about Magic again, I was kind of done with Magic as of a couple months ago, probably upwards of a year ago now. Basically, when new sets would come out, and I would be excited for the new set, and get cards for the new set, and spend a reasonable amount of money on it. Like, I don't play Standard. Standard is kind of the format that they push for tournaments, which is using the cards within the last 2 years, I believe, if I remember. Yeah. You have to make your cards with that. You have to make your deck with those cards. There's rotation season, which rotates older expansions out. Yeah, which
I really don't like that.
Yeah, no, so I did Standard. Every single person does this when they start Magic. They go, I want to play Standard because it's easy to find games. You do it for one rotational season, and then rotation comes around, because I did this, and 2 of my friends did this that got into Magic, and one spent a lot of fucking money on it.
Yeah.
I built my deck and shit, rotation season comes around, and I went, okay, need to get rid of this, this, and this, and my deck wasn't even a deck anymore, and I looked at the cost, and I was like, I bought these cards for, let's say, $50, $60, not a lot at all, and now they're worth $10, if that.
I remember, like, just looking at this stuff again, especially with Chaotic, like, this stuff was fun. It did cost a bit about, like, a good amount of money to get it, but I was, like, a kid and getting Chaotic cards, and I would just save up my allowance so I get stuff for Christmas and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I have like a big deck. I have a big deck of stuff. I have pages and pages and pages. And like, I'm assuming if I was playing an older version or something, I could use those. Same with Pokemon. Like, Pokemon, there's a lot of fucking Pokemon cards and shit. But we weren't playing the Pokemon game. Like, the Pokemon game probably sucks, so we were just playing them to get our favorite Pokemon. And just new versions and shit.
Do you, and you might not, I definitely don't, do you have any clue if Pokemon has that type of thing that you
I
only
think it
use
does.
the last...
I think it rotates, like,
probably
stuff out like that, which isn't great, but at least they're like, oh, I have a Pikachu card. I like Pikachu a lot. Let me put that in my binder. Let me put that, tack it to my wall or something like that, right? Magic, to me, just seems like a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, Magic is a lot of fantasy shit, and it used to be more dark fantasy or high magic fantasy, and now it's a lot of...
generic.
It feels, at least in my opinion, it feels very generic-y and like it doesn't have a feeling, but getting it done in like 30 seconds. I dislike Magic now because they cater to whales. They don't cater to normal people.
Yeah, like, and people who spend thousands and
people
thousands
who spend
of dollars
literal
on cards.
thousands of dollars on super premium booster products that don't do anything and just make it harder to get good cards for people that just want to play and not spend money. And also, a couple months ago, this was when it really pushed me over the edge, and lots of people got pissed off, but I don't think they made as much of a fuss as they should have. There was a Walking Dead secret drop that released that were Walking Dead official cards. Like, it would have Glenn on it, and it would have Rick on it.
And it was for Magic?
And it was for Magic. And whereas before those cards would not be legal technically, they were completely legal in a format called Commander, which is one of the most played formats in the world. And some of them, it's not even about them being good. They could have been shit cards, but
it's product
they
placement.
were unique.
That's what it is.
They were functionally unique cards with that art and text and look. It wouldn't matter if they were not functionally unique. If you could get a card called whatever Dragon and it did the same thing as the Glenn Walker Killer card, it wouldn't matter, but it did. They were different cards.
That's they're
That's
total
what pushed me
product
over the edge.
placements too.
They're
right?
total
Like,
product. They don't look
Yeah.
right. You can't have that
No.
on a table and look like you're playing a game that deserves
yes.
any type of respect.
My Genasi Mage and my Black Dragon next to Glenn from
Next
The
to
Walking
Glenn
Dead.
from The Walking Dead. And give it 5 or 6 years, I guarantee there's going to be official cards that you can get the same type of drops that are going to be Marvel's The Avengers Magic the Gathering drop, or
That's
Fortnite
awful.
Magic the Gathering drop.
Oh god.
Things like that. Give it 5 or 6 more years and it will be a thing and people will get annoyed, but everyone just keeps coming back. And I
Do you think so? I think at that point a lot of people would be like, fuck this, and just stop playing.
It feels like a lot of people did that with the Walking Dead thing and they just go, oh, Wizards of the Coast. And it's like, no, I'm not buying this anymore. This is stupid.
Getting on to like what I wanted to say to finish my
move past.
thoughts on
I'm
this.
angry.
I feel like, I still like playing card games and collecting stuff, but this has been replaced by, like, we were talking about playing Gloomhaven before. Gloomhaven is kind of like a combat-based deck building game.
Yeah, it's replaced with stuff like that I know I will always have, and the production value is really nice. There's a lot of thought into it. It's interesting.
And that game's really fun. Like, the whole game is based around combat and stuff. It's not, like, based around gimmicks. Like, chaotic, like, the cards are different. Like, depending on what card you get, it could have really bad health, really good stats, really bad stats.
Yeah.
It's just, like, we have the cards, maybe we have an expansion or two, and it's more about thinking your way around problems rather than smashing your opponent with
money
your
into
better
it.
cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say the other really good game that I think is a better example of this is Arkham Horror.
Arkham Horror was interesting, but I find it hard to buy to give that company money.
Really?
Fantasy Flight, yeah.
Why?
So, you know how much it costs, right? So, like,
No, I don't know.
you probably wouldn't like it. So, Arkham Horror is about $30 to $40 for the base in quotes game, which is a joke. It's like 4 scenarios. You can beat it in 2-3 hours.
Which we did.
It has a little replayability, but not very much at all. You basically just switch characters. And you can't build all the decks with one starter box. It's a living card game is what they call it. So it transitions over the years, not a collectible trading card game. It's an LCG, I believe. So it's about $40 for that. And then let's say you look at the next expansion, which I believe it's a couple of years ago now. But it was the Legacy of Dunwall or something like that. I think that was the next full expansion. So you spend $40 to get the Legacy of Dunwall. That only gives you that gives you the new characters for the Legacy of Dunwall. Again, you can't build all the decks that are possible. You would need to buy 2 Legacy of Dunwall packs, and then you'd have 80% extra bonus cards that you wouldn't use. And then Legacy of Dunwall has, let's say, 10 campaign playthroughs, but you'd get, with the base campaign set, you'd get 1 to 4, and then you need to buy a $10 set for 5 and a $15 set for 5 and 6 and shit like that.
I think that I'm going to say, like, the devil's advocate, because I didn't pay for those cards. I played them at your house with you, but, like, to me,
I had fun playing them. I had fun playing them, but it's the monetary price.
I really, really, really liked playing Arkham Horror. I really liked it. That was one of the best board games I think we played together, that I played with you.
Yeah.
And, like, compare that to buying fucking $250 worth of fucking booster packs for Magic or something, right?
Yeah, they're fun when you open them. Booster packs are so fun when you open them, but...
Well, they just have little endorphin spikes in your brain.
That's what it is.
We're fucking mice. We're little, like, animals in a rat cage.
Yeah, that's all it is. And I would like Arkham Horror a ton more if I could just give me the Legacy of Dunwall and because it's not a cheap game, and I understand that. There's custom art for everything. You need to pay artists. You need to pay I 100% get
beautiful art.
Amazing art. I like it.
I like all the branching paths. I like the different modifiers we can put on ourselves and shit. Even when we played the base game, I thought it was cool too.
Just mark it as, if you know it's expensive, just mark it as $79.99 and you get the entire Legacy of Dunwall thing. You get everything right there. Don't make me go out, because lots of stores don't carry all of them, or they're sold out, or you can get them online, you can't get them in store.
Or they're sold out of one and not the other.
Don't make me go around and look to complete the game I want to play so I can't give you money and just make it annoying.
Yeah, that's scummy. I don't like that.
Fantasy Flight also fucks over a lot of their board games. They constantly will take away support for an old game or change card sleeve sizes without telling people.
Oh my god, it's not good. I think we've played other fun like card game board games that we like very much, like
such
Wingspan
as Clank.
and shit.
Wingspan. Clank is amazing.
Yeah. Clank's really good. I only beat it, you guys, when I'm really drunk. Are there any closing thoughts you have on collectible card games, Dan? I'm not going to get rid of these. I'm going to keep them because I like looking at them. They're neat. Maybe I'll show you next time you're over, when COVID's over.
I want to see them. I got rid of a lot of my Magic cards. I still have a fuck ton. Don't
get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong. I still have a shit ton. But I got rid of a lot of them, even if they were worth a little bit of money. I don't care. They're I don't want to sort them. I don't want to figure that shit out. And someone else will appreciate them a lot more than me. Closing remarks about collectible card games. I think there's a time and a place, and I think they're changing a lot. I think digital card games are probably going to be more so the future.
Mm-hmm. It just makes sense.
It makes a lot more sense, and not much that I don't really even know if lots of kids give a fuck about collecting cards. Like Pokemon and stuff is now viewed as more of a thing for college students and adults because the price is spiking.
I don't think
kids care. I don't really think kids care.
I don't think kids care as much about Pokemon as people think.
No, I don't think so.
The only conversations, like, I remember it got big again when my nieces and nephew were young, like 6-7 years ago. But other than that, I only talk about Pokemon with, like, old people. Like, people in their fucking 20s. People in their 20s love Pokemon. And I think Game Freak's fucking tone deaf. They don't know what games they're making for who.
We should go to an elementary school at lunch one time and just talk to the kids about Pokemon cards.
Hey kids, just go through the chain link fence. Hey kids, you playing Pokemon in there?
Doing a study. Jim, that's it for me. Yeah, take us out. What do you want to say? What are we doing next time? I actually have no clue, and I think I might know, but...
I think you might know, because I think this is like a joint... It's going to be my pick, right? I think it's a joint pick. Because I told everybody that I was watching Shudder again, and I saw the Wolf House on there.
Yes,
and we're gonna do the Wolf House for next episode.
Next episode is on the Wolf House, and it is a Spanish movie, I believe. 2018. It's a Spanish movie, and it's gonna be a clusterfuck. It's Chilean. It's a Chilean stop motion animated horror film. But from what I know, it's about a woman that escapes her village and lives in a shed with 2 pigs, and she loses her goddamn mind. And
We could be those pigs, Dan. We could be those pigs.
Okay, so I gotta go. I believe I have Shudder. If not, I'll just pay for it for a month. It's like $5 or some shit. I don't care.
I mean, it's like I got it for $40 a year.
Oh, really? That's not bad.
It was really cheap. I love watching shit on Shudder, and it's really like cool. I can talk about it next time. It's really cool movies, not just horror movies. But anyway. This is it for episode 11 on Shack Out Back. My closing thoughts on trading card games are: don't buy Magic cards, and if someone wants to pay me $300 for the shiny Charizard, I'll take it.
My final remarks are: I think they had a time and a place, but I don't think you'll see trading card games in the next 50 years or so. I think it'll be all digital.
What are we doing to take us out of here, Dad? What are we saying? What are we doing?
You take us out of here. I always goddamn say it.
I'm going to say what I had for lunch the last few days. That's what we're gonna take it out on.
Horrendous.
Today I had Popeyes because I didn't eat, and then I went to your house and we had Popeyes.
Delicious.
And I had chicken and peas and pierogies yesterday, and then I had peanut butter sandwich the day before.
Peanut butter.
And I had some chili the day before with a little bread, and that's
it. Good night, darling.
Goodbye, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Good night, Dan.
Good night, everybody.
Is it your mic picking it up?
No, I don't think my mic's picking it up. Keep this in. People need to know. The neighbors across from my door yell at each other like bi-weekly, and then one time we heard them smashing plates against walls and stuff. I just heard them because they were yelling. But keep going.
I was going to say, what the fuck was I talking about?